Welcome to Sports Choke Transfer News. Please kindly like and subscribe to get notified whenever we drop our latest football news.
Kevin De Bruyne's future takes shock twist after Fabrizio Romano drops bombshell on Man City star's next club. Kevin De Bruyne is in line for a shock deal as the first club makes a concrete approach to sign the Manchester City star when he leaves the Etihad Stadium at the end of the season. Man City legend De Bruyne announced in an emotional statement at the start of the month that he will be ending his incredible spell at the club this summer. Clubs all over the world quickly mobilized their recruitment teams, with rumored interest from the Saudi Pro League and Major League Soccer among the touted destinations. Talk of a link-up with Lionel Messi at Inter Miami followed reports that De Bruyne is keen to move to the United States with his family, while interest from former club Wolfsburg has also been floated on the waters of social media. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano now exclusively reports that it's deal on after the first serious approach for De Bruyne's services. The 33-year-old, a Champions League winner and multiple Premier League champion with Man City, appears to be destined for MLS. But Romano's shock exclusive isn't an approach from Inter Miami. Instead, it's one of their Eastern Conference rivals who've made their move to become De Bruyne's next club. MLS side Chicago Fire have made an approach to sign De Bruyne on a free transfer, according to Romano's post on X, formerly Twitter. De Bruyne will assess all options in the next days and weeks, but Chicago Fire are now showing strong interest with a specific project to attract KDB, posted the renowned football transfer journalist. Deal on. De Bruyne would need to be signed to a designated player contract with the Fire, now managed by former Usement head coach Greg Berhalter. Hugo Kuipers and new signing Jonathan Bamba currently carry that label, which originated when David Beckham joined LA Galaxy and is known colloquially as the Beckham Rule. De Bruyne will have many more suitors in the coming days and weeks, but Romano's report indicates the possibility of a quick decision about his future ahead of next season. The MLS playing a summer schedule might impact the timing of any move to Chicago or elsewhere. Despite the automatic triggering of a contract extension at Man City, the Belgian is expected to leave as announced. The race to sign Florian Wirtz is on and Manchester City are in the thick of it. One of the biggest names who could be on the move this summer is Bayer Leverkusen playmaker Florian Wirtz. The German international's future is one of the hottest topics in football currently. As it stands, the possibility that he could remain at Bayer Leverkusen for next season remains in play. But if he were to seek a move from the Bundesliga club, a new report from Sport Bild indicates that Manchester City, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich will fight it out for his signature. Here is a look at the Sport Bild report, which was relayed by Get Football News Germany, GFNG, which shows that Manchester City are in the thick of the race to sign Wirtz. But they may not be his favoured destination. The GFNG report indicates that Bayer Leverkusen hasn't given up hope of signing Florian Wirtz to a contract extension. But if Wirtz were to seek a move from Leverkusen, the Bundesliga club would demand a transfer fee of at least €150 million. It is also reported that Wirtz has ranked his three preferred destinations in terms of where he sees the best chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. According to the report, Wirtz has ranked the clubs with Real Madrid at number 1, Manchester City at 2 and Bayern Munich at 3 in that particular category. It is further reported that Pep Guardiola has met with Florian Wirtz. Guardiola has reportedly outlined his plans for Wirtz and how he'd fit into his squad. Furthermore, the GFNG report states that Manchester City are willing to pay the €150 million asking price to sign Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. Manchester City are in the race to sign Florian Wirtz, but is full of variables which will dictate who signs him. There is no doubt that Florian Wirtz would be a tremendous addition to Pep Guardiola's squad. That fact isn't in question. In fact, that's not the biggest variable at play in the race to sign the German international. There are many, and you do sense that City will have a fight on their hands to sign arguably the most sought-after player on the transfer market. The GFNG report indicates that Florian Wirtz's father would prefer him to sign for Bayern Munich. It is also reported that Bayer Leverkusen do not want to sell their prized asset to a Bundesliga rival. Typically, if Bayern Munich want to sign a young German international, they get their way. That's the first variable in the situation. Real Madrid loom as the biggest obstacle in City's pursuit of Florian Wirtz. The GFNG report indicates that there is a possibility that Real Madrid could sign Xabi Alonso as manager if Carlo Ancelotti were to leave his post as Real Madrid manager. It is further reported that Real Madrid hasn't yet made a decision in regards to their potential pursuit of Wirtz. Real Madrid's decision won't be known until May as per the GFNG report. Summary. That's the biggest variable in the entire equation. If Xabi Alonso were to take over as Real Madrid manager, that may swing the race to sign Wirtz in Madrid's favour. It is reported that the German international sees his best chance at winning the Ballon d'Or by playing at the La Liga giants. The assumption was that it was a race between Manchester City and Bayern Munich to sign the German playmaker. But Real Madrid do now loom over proceedings. But for me, as good as Florian Wirtz is, if Manchester City isn't his preferred destination, is it a move worth pursuing? On talent alone, of course signing the Bayer Leverkusen star is a no-brainer. But as Manchester City seek to rebuild their squad, it may be a case of finding players who want to play at the Etihad above all else. That's the one thing that may dictate whether or not Wirtz is a player that City should spend so much time and energy on signing. Of course, the Sport Bild report, which was relayed by GFNG, may not be a true indication of the intentions of Florian Wirtz. But it is the most data analysis of the situation, and it has laid out where that particular race stands. It is now a major story to watch for over the coming months, which it has been for some time. Man City have to make £40 million Liam Delap transfer call. It could get messy. Manchester City will have to make a decision on Liam Delap in the summer transfer window whether they want to sign him or not. Liam Delap has certainly enjoyed a stellar year. Of the many former Manchester City stars living it up in the Premier League this season, perhaps only Morgan Rogers has had a better campaign, as the bulldozer of a striker has lashed in 12 goals in his first season in the top flight. It won't be enough to save Ipswich from the drop, yet it should be enough to not only preserve Delap's position in English football but improve it. Goal scorers are the most valuable commodity for top teams, and there is no shortage of teams interested in the 22-year-old. Chelsea, where Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku have been keeping tabs on Delap for ages, and he fits right into their ideal profile for recruiting. With coach Enzo Maresca having developed Delap in the City Academy and a number of other figures also at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea are favourites to land Delap. There's also United though, who have spent close to £130 million on centre-forwards in the last 2 years and still cannot buy a goal. Jason Wilcox was in charge of City's academy when Delap was signed, and may be hoping to use that existing relationship to tempt Delap with a return to Manchester. Wherever he goes, no deal can happen without going through City first. The Blues have the option to buy their player back for £40 million and also have a 20% sell-on fee, so will need to be notified of any negotiations. However impressive Delap has been, the chances of him making it at the Etihad are lower than when he left. Erling Haaland is still at the club and has signed a 9.5-year contract extension, while the club have replaced Julian Alvarez with the £59 million signing of Omar Marmoush. It's not out of this world that Delap returns to City, but it is highly unlikely. If there are other interested parties though, and ones with deep pockets, there is an argument for the Blues to buy Delap back anyway before selling him on. That would again be highly unlikely, and it is not part of City's playbook to mess with the futures of players like that, but signing a player for one sum before selling him on for another in the same window would be an easy PSR win. If United and Chelsea are both prepared to invest in Delap, the Blues could push the price up by taking him off Ipswich's hands first. Whatever City decide, it looks like they will have to make some kind of decision this summer, with Delap destined to be back playing in the Premier League next season with a new club. Man City set for James McAtee talks as big summer decision awaits. Manchester City youngster James McAtee has said he would like to play in both tournaments on offer to him this summer. Manchester City are set for talks with the Football Association over plans for James McAtee this summer. The 22-year-old is eligible to play in the Under-21 European Championship, but that clashes with City's involvement in the Club World Cup. England are defending champions following their 2023 triumph against Spain in the final, and McAtee has become an important part of Lee Carsley's plans in recent years. He played in the March internationals and would be expected to be included in the squad for the competition, that runs from June 11 to June 28. That would normally be no issue for City, but Pep Guardiola will be taking his squad to the United States almost as soon as the season ends for the first edition of the revamped Club World Cup. City's 3 group games will be played between June 18 and June 26, with the final in New Jersey on July 14. Speaking in January, Guardiola suggested that part of the reason the club did not want McAtee to leave on loan for the second half of the season was because he would be needed for the Club World Cup. "We don't have enough players. We have a World Cup at the end of the season. We have a lot of games," he said. However, speaking on England Under-21 duty, McAtee has since expressed a wish to represent his country. "I've not made my mind up yet," he said. "It's a great opportunity for both, so it's something I need to chat to City and Lee Carsley about. I'd love to go to both. I think I'll get a say in it. But as I say, I haven't made my mind up. I think my opinion will matter and the boss back home will listen to me." Carsley, who spent a year in charge of City's under-18s during Guardiola's time at the club, is well aware that it is a topic that needs discussing sooner rather than later. "I think it's something that we need to talk about," he said. "I think if players can be involved in such a competition like the Club World Cup, then obviously they go with our blessing. But he's a player that's very important for us. It's down to the club and we'll go off whatever they want and we'll support James with that." McAtee made his first Premier League start for the club on Saturday and marked it with his 7th goal of the season. Latching onto a long ball from Edison, he rounded goalkeeper Dean Henderson before slotting home City's 4th to pick up an important result for their hopes of securing a top 5 finish in the league. Grealish, Gundogan, McAtee, which Man City players could leave this summer? Pep Guardiola has started the process of rebuilding Manchester City's legendary squad, but which players will actually leave this summer? The end of the season is nearly upon us and therefore so is the opening of the summer 2025 transfer window. This summer will be slightly different for Manchester City due to their involvement in the FIFA Club World Cup, with a 10-day transfer window opening before the tournament to allow clubs to add new players before their Club World Cup campaign. The window then shuts again before opening as usual, but City will have much of their summer taken up with their world title defence. Kevin De Bruyne must be replaced after the club decided to allow him to leave, while there are uncertain futures elsewhere across the squad. Ilkay Gundogan has triggered a second year on the deal he signed last summer when returning to the club, however he could still leave if player and club decide to part ways. Pep Guardiola has spoken of the need of an overhaul, recently repeating his assertion that long-serving players who cannot stay fit like Nathan Ake and John Stones may have to move on. Manu Akanji doesn't quite fit into that category, however he has struggled with injury this season himself. It's down to the club and we'll go off whatever they want and we'll support James with that. McAtee made his first Premier League start for the club on Saturday and marked it with his 7th goal of the season. Latching onto a long ball from Edison, he rounded goalkeeper Dean Henderson before slotting home City's 4th to pick up an important result for their hopes of securing a top 5 finish in the league. Goalkeepers Edison and Stefan Ortega have been linked with exits for different reasons, Edison with the lure of the Saudi Pro League and Ortega linked with a potential return to Germany. And question marks remain over aging trio Mateo Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, and Jack Grealish, yet all are under contract and would only leave if a suitable buyer came along. Matheus Nunes got a damning verdict on his ability to play in the middle recently, but he is not a full-back either, so surely his days are numbered, while James McAtee is finishing the season strongly amid strong links to Bayer Leverkusen and other interested clubs. Next season's squad is set to look very different to this season's, but the chances of every player linked with an exit actually leaving are maybe slimmer than some fans would hope. So we are asking you to tell us which players you would keep or sell going into Guardiola's summer rebuild as he bids to mould a squad capable of reclaiming the Premier League.
And that will be the end of our report for now. Kindly like and subscribe to get notified whenever we drop our latest transfer news about your favorite team. Also follow Sports Joke on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram and X.